They pose as global entities, established for global interests. The truth is, they are mere organizations, built on the foundation of selfish interests, with more hideous agendas for the world and her peoples. You might as well call them cults of control. They are the World Health Organization, the United Nations, and the World Economic Forum.
That's an evil trinity. The guy who was the first Director General of the WHO, which is called the World Health Organization, Dr. George Brook Chisholm, that's his name, the first Director General of the WHO. He stated that the priority of the World Health Organization, the WHO, is population control. You think it was established for health? Well, we all thought so when we were ignorant, until we started learning some more and discovered that what their publicly stated goals are very different from their agenda.
And this was not about public health. It wasn't about controlling a money system. It wasn't anything else. This was about a bunch of sociopaths who have worked a very long time to come up with a war against humanity. You need to look at the 1952 reference very carefully. What's on that reference? Brock Chisholm, who was the Director General of the WHO, who said that the reason for the WHO's policy was going to be, first and foremost, population control. The World Health Organization's primary objective. 1952. People don't talk about Brock Chisholm. They don't go and read what he said. But it turns out that that's what he specifically said this was about.
If you go back and you look at the formation of the World Health Organization, you see that it is the outgrowth of the 1913 eugenics office at Cold Spring Harbor Labs. That was, by the way, funded by Carnegie. The World Health Organization's founding executive director, was a concentration camp survivor who 5 years into the World Health Organization said the role of the World Health Organization in 1955 was for population control and population suppression.
You just heard it, that he stated that the priority of the World Health Organization, the WHO, is population control. You just heard it.
I feel it might be useful for me to point out that my participation in first the creation of the World Health Organization and my role as Assistant Director General for 24 years. I attended every meeting of the World Health Assembly and every session of the Executive Board. The Executive Board met twice a year. The Health Assembly met annually. And I was present, exercising my functions at these meetings. I didn't miss a single one.
Professor Siegel, how did Dr. Chisholm regard family planning in those early days as a potential concern for WHO?
Brock Chisholm was a realist. And he firmly believed that overpopulation was a threat, a security threat, if you will, to all the nations of the world.
Stop for a second.
And
Stop for a second. That is interesting. I want to remind you, the man who's talking was the Assistant Director General of the WHO for 24 years from the beginning. He was with Brock Chisholm. And he said he attended every single meeting of the World Health Assembly. He participated in all the official directors' meetings, every one of them, 24 years. This was the Assistant Director General. Now he tells us, in answering a question, that Brock Chisholm believed that overpopulation was a security threat to the nations of the world. want you to understand that this was the mentality. This was the idea in the minds of those who set up the WHO. It was set up to control population. That's the number one priority. How can an organization, I want you to reason, how can an organization with such a mandate create policies for your health? How is that? You really believe that they will come up with policies to cure people of their sicknesses and make them live longer and produce more people? That's against their ideology. That's against their vision.